last week on the Glass Cannon Podcast.
Natural 20. Oh, the Joe Duck.
Swim. Natural 2.
Oh.
I'm going to double move down to Talitha to try to help her.
Now it's Hubert's turn.
Brother
Ramius! Oh, perhaps that could help. And he will pull the potion off of your
Amazing.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Attach a rope to an arrow and shoot it at Talitha.
Just plump in the water.
I grab the rope and start climbing.
Water splashing up into your mouth.
This slug is also approaching us.
This thing could very well kill everyone. So that's a hit.
Not up anymore.
Oh, God.
Natural 17.
Oh, she did it.
Yeah, it climb right up on shore.
And I will pull out a elixir of life and feed it to Zephyr.
Oh, God.
Run.
She's going to listen to what Talitha said and double runs a little bit inland as I do so.
It is the giant snail thing's turn.
I'm unconscious and dying.
Okay.
So now you're
Dying too.
Dying too.
Dying 2. Talitha, I need a death save. No.
Natural 1.
Are we going to stay and try to fight it, or are we all going to run? All right.
Zephyr, get away from the water. We must get there, across the river.
While this thing is feeding on Talitha, we just see all of you jumping from rock to rock to get to the other side. As you're jumping, we just see this thing chowing on Talitha, and you see your brother just reaching his hand out towards you.
The adventure continues now.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the Glass Cannon Podcast.
Right.
It's tough without a script, isn't it?
Novel, I was going to say. Comic book.
Welcome back to the Glass Cannon novel.
Glass Cannon novel.
Glass Cannon newsreel.
A podcast in 300 parts. Couple of hot weeks in the old Pretend Factory.
Hot Wheels.
Spicy Hot Wheels. And I've got a loaded question to throw out there.
Oh dear.
Oh boy.
To kick things off. You know I love a good question, a good icebreaker. It isn't really an icebreaker. It's a very thoughtful question that should be easy to answer, but might give you a second. It's a personal question. The answer is personal.
Man, the tension. Kate loves personal questions.
Yeah.
So nervous right now.
Why do you play role-playing games? Why do you play role-playing games? For me, it's changed over the years. When I started playing again with you, it was, I imagine, based in nostalgia, which you all know I'm a very nostalgic person, Christmas and whatnot, big holiday guy. And you lured me into it, and I always had that little itch. You actually got me back into video games. When we were talking after we met at softball, you were telling me about Skyrim. I'm like, never heard of the Elder Scrolls. It sounds amazing. That's it. I've never stopped. I had taken like 10 years off from video games. I've been back in it ever since. And
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. You had moved on with your life in a positive way.
Joe was like,
I was out there exercising, playing softball.
Exactly.
And then Joe was like,
running a
would you
softball
like to
team, had 1,000 girlfriends at the same time.
would you like to spend hundreds of dollars and just sit on a couch?
But it brings you joy.
It brought me joy, and it was certainly the gateway back into this. And when we started playing, and as the day I met Skid was the day I came back, it was just like all that joy that I felt as a kid. Whenever I think of the summer, which I hate the summers, but one of the things I loved about the summer as a kid is that I would go over to my buddy's house. His weird mom would make us do chores. That's what made it weird. It's like,
I love that you were hanging out at my house with my mom.
It's like, oh, you got your friend over? Go clean the septic tank. But like, we would try to get the chores.
Some masks and rubber gloves.
And you weren't allowed to stay in the air-conditioned house. You had to go out in the 95-degree heat. But if we went to the pool house after we finished the chores, we could play Dungeons and Dragons. And I mean, it was the best. And so getting back into it, it was nostalgia based, but obviously as things changed, it was like, I wonder if we can do more with this. I wonder if we can turn this into something bigger, and that bigger became a business. And so, yeah, there's obviously a, let's support my family. Let's build something here. But for me, it's morphed into something else. I think that there is a really interesting thing you can do with entertainment with these games that is unlike any other form of entertainment out there. You go watch an improv show, not my cup of tea, but you go watch an improv show. That's very interesting. They've made some TV shows of that. You can have a lot of fun there. You can watch transcendent art happen in front of you. And I think you can do that with role-playing games. So that's why I play. I think that what we do can entertain and also inspire. And
Stop hammering your dice tray.
It
seems like you're angry.
Hammered it, and then
exciting
shifted all the way over here.
As a man.
That's exciting to me.
My dice are shifting when you hit
Yeah,
it.
you're hitting the whole, it's like a gavel
table.
over there. You're like a
This
judge.
is why I play. Why do you play?
I would say it's changed for me as well, because when I played as a kid, I don't know why I started playing. I mean, I know how I began to play. It was just what my friends were doing, and so I went along
As a follower,
and never a leader myself. And it was so fun. You know what I mean? I don't really know how to explain it other than just like the laughter, just like the pure laughter. And that's what it was like a lot when we played together. Before we started the show, it was just like we laughed the whole time. And it was one of the reasons we wanted to start the show. You weren't trying to make transcendent entertainment back in 2015. You were just like, this is so funny. Like, people should listen to this.
You're hitting the table now.
I'm sorry. I'm fired up
Everyone's hitting the
about
top.
role-playing games. But I think
start.
what it's morphed into to me is very obvious, very front door. But it's that I love making stories. I love stories. I love books. I love movies. And so this is me getting to make it. And I've tried writing. I'm not very good at it. It's difficult. It's challenging. And if we didn't play games, I would write. I would absolutely write, because I just love generating story. And to be able to do it with the help of other people is really, really fun. And so what I walk away from now, my favorite sessions, obviously the huge laughs, but it's when you have those moments that, like you said, are transcendent moments of art where you're just like, and it lives forever in your mind as if you saw a movie. And you could think, and then you can think like, I made that. Like, that's a really, really cool thing to be able to be a part of.
Yeah. You tell war stories about fictional things.
Yeah.
So talk about, remember when Gormley fell?
Yeah.
We talk
Remember
about that.
when Della died in Philadelphia?
Yeah.
That's why I play role-playing games at the promise that you have to be there, because you never know which session you could remember for the rest of your
Could
life.
have that moment, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I love that it's something, my love of it, something that I picked up as a hobby when I was in 3rd grade, and I'm still enjoying it basically just as much now as I did when I was a little kid. And the fact that I like it for evolving reasons, because, when you're a kid and it's just like, oh, I have a Pegasus and a crystal castle. It's kind of the first, I think it started off as like the power fantasy, and, the ability to, when you are that age, your world is so restricted, like you're so limited in what you're allowed to actually do. And so the possibility of like this artificial place where you can kind of do whatever you want is so enticing.
Just slay all the grown-ups.
Yeah, you can like kill like
with your
every
dragon
grown-up.
breath.
Yeah, right. And that's the other thing. It's
You
like,
do the chores, Mom.
and then
I'll cast a spell on you.
and it's like we loved our characters and everything, but like as I have grown up, like my idea of like what makes a character and what's fun about playing a character and exploring it has changed so much. And so that's deepened. And like, one of the things that hasn't changed is, I was thinking about this on the way here, is I'm horrified by actual violence, but made up violence is so fucking funny to me. And that's one thing that has not changed at all from when I was in 3rd grade. It is the funniest fucking thing to me. So, yeah.
For me, it pains me to say this, but I think I have to attribute it to Joe's aggressive style of friendship.
Yeah. It's true. He's like the Borg.
It's
just kind of a simile.
I mean, it was like the Joe treatment I got about playing Pathfinder because our now wives were friends and we got to be friends. Every time we go over there, I'd be like, I would say to Ken, I wonder if Joe's going to ask me to play his game again. It's like,
what if Joe, that loser, that nerd, is going to harass me to play his stupid game?
I mean, we were friends, but we were both losers. But so I didn't think there was no real difference there. But yeah, it was like every time.
You got to be relentless.
You're like, it's everything you love. It's storytelling. It's games. It's characters. It's fantasy.
Do it.
He's very aggressive.
It wouldn't surprise me if he was running a Curse of the Crimson Throne campaign for his entire neighborhood and just didn't tell me because he knew how bad I would make him feel.
He's a big organizer.
He's a big organizer.
Yes.
He had that monthly where we met.
Yeah.
He did the monthly game night down at the bar.
Yes.
He did the Crimson Throne campaign.
Yeah.
You're the glue, Joe. You're the friendship glue.
He's the glue guy.
Well, eventually you sent me an email. You're like, we're playing this Saturday. It's going to be, you were there. He was like, Troy's going to be there. This other guy who's never played is going to be there. I might have told the story before. And then he was like, return. Okay, why can't you do it? So I literally said to Caitlin, I was like, all right, I think I have to do this one. And then I can say,
just one
with your friend's boyfriend, and
Your friend's weirdo boyfriend. That's so great.
and then I can do the one, and then I can say, thanks, that was a lot of fun, but I don't think it's for me. And here we are, 11 years later.
The rest is history.
No, but you were right. I hate saying it, but you were right. It is everything I love, right? It is the storytelling. It's character work. It's the community building. It's the kind of communal, collaborative act of it. Yeah, and I think also, when I think about it now, I was playing a lot of role-playing games just without the role-playing game as a child.
Right.
We were just we would watch Indiana Jones or Star Wars, and then we would just be in the world, right?
Play it out.
100%. And making new stories. And it was and then we would literally be pitching each other as we were running around the backyard, and then what if all of a sudden the fence explodes, and then it was that, and then we were just kind of role playing it as we went.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't think that there was anything that we've done lately that is more relates to my childhood and what I was doing before I was playing role-playing games, where I didn't realize I was playing role-playing games, than when we did the Rambo show, the Let's Play Rambo show. Because I used to run around with my friends and we would pretend we were in Vietnam. That was the game. You'd have plastic, by the way, black, unpainted assault rifles.
Yep, right.
Running around the neighborhood with war paint on.
Oh my God.
And a pack of matches that was the real contraband. You're not allowed to have this. And you'd just be in the woods, just lighting matches and being there's a fire. Blah, 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 blah. Dropping down on logs. Blah, 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 blah.
Those fake guns were awesome. They sounded real. It was
oh, dude, it was insane. We would sit, I'd be watching all these Chuck Norris movies and shit. We would sit there and be all right, now we're in a POW camp. It was role playing. It really was.
It was so fun because I remember back then, Palladium put out the Nom role playing game, and it was just yes, because it was so in the moment. There was Platoon had just come out, and Full Metal Jacket, and there was a show on CBS called Tour of Duty that I really liked.
I was just talking about that show.
That's a really good show.
It is a surprisingly good show.
It's a really good show.
Eric Chandler was in it.
Eric Bruscotter was in that show. So that was in the moment, but there was something so fun. And so, then getting to actually play Rambo, because this is not something we ever actually get to do. It's play Vietnam stuff. So that was fun. It was great. Yeah.
I feel I was also applying a role-playing template onto my other games. I would be playing a board game, and I'd be
Oh no!
role playing.
Well, we still do that.
Yes, we still do
Playing
that.
what's the Contagion? Whatever that game you guys
Pandemic.
played.
Pandemic.
Yeah.
Role playing Pandemic, the fireman game. That we
Yeah, the
played.
fireman.
Oh my god,
Oh, God.
so funny.
My sister's in there.
I was laughing so hard watching you guys play the fireman game, and you're like, "Yeah, my sister's in that room."
Didn't you sleep with my sister?
Super-
You literally just have to go and rescue that pawn from the building.
It's
into
just
that space. And
Skid played by role playing. We all played the game. This was at PAX Unplugged, like
Yeah.
what, 5-7 years ago.
First PAX Unplugged. Sydney, when we found you in a
Off the street.
in a cardboard box outside our studio,
in a box of sweaters.
knocking on the fourth story window every day.
discarded sweaters. No, we put up a casting notice, but like we were explicit in the casting notice, you have to have played these games because that learning curve is like, we can't, if you don't understand the game, it's so much more you have to learn.
You need to play for years
Yeah.
to like start to really.
And clearly, I lied.
hundreds and
like
hundreds,
any professional actress.
Well, you lied
Fake it till
well.
you make
I
it.
lied on my resume.
hundreds of people replied, and they were all like, "Never played," but I'm like, "Did you read the line that said?" And you were like, "Well, I'm in a Shadowrun campaign. I've played some fire." I'm like, "All right, well, she's using the terms. We'll bring her."
Yeah.
Oh, I
At least
remember
she's-
seeing the Shadowrun thing and being like, "Oh, so she's a real loser."
Right.
Like
It's
this
a lot
is
of
her.
sixes.
What's interesting is I feel like similarly, like I didn't grow up playing role-playing games, but I played like role-playing in all other games. I just never got to play. I never had a group of friends that played. You know, I missed out on that. So when I started playing, I've told this story before, I was so desperate and I really had this FOMO of like missing out on the community of role-playing and people I knew who played TTRPGs. So I went to a gaming cafe in Beverly, Massachusetts. And
North Shore.
North Shore. And I met with strangers, and it was a bunch of dudes, unknown ages. Could have been 50, could have been 20. I don't know. They
should
were
know.
unable. No,
Sometimes you don't, though.
I think
She
you
doesn't
know.
hard to
see it.
tell.
I think you knew.
Hard to tell.
That's a big gap.
But I played Shadowrun, and it was like my first time playing. And then it started out as like the FOMO thing, and I just really liked it. Like right off the bat, I was like, this is so much fun. I'm having so much fun, even with strangers. Like imagine if I had a group of friends, and then I had a group of friends.
Just imagine.
No, I got sorry, a group
Still
of
trying to imagine it.
a group of friends,
Rubbing a rabbit's foot.
a group of friends, comma, who wanted to play games.
Oh, I see. I'm sorry.
And then we played 5e, and like that was way more fun. So it started off as like missing out, and then it turned into like a challenge. And I love a challenge. And I was like, I want to be better at role-playing games. I want to be really good. And I want to like raise the bar of what you can do in role-playing games. And then I saw this casting, and I was like, whoa, this
Where
like
did you see it? Where did you see the casting?
backstage, which is like a common casting
It's the it's
site.
Actors Access, I think.
Or was it Actors Access? It was
Actors.
Actors.
That was before they kicked us off of Actors.
That's why I didn't see the message, because Actors Access sucks.
Yeah.
Sucks. Their message system's terrible. But anyway, and I was like, this is like exactly what I was looking for. I want to become better. And now it's like a performance. I get to act, but I get to also play. And yeah, similarly, Matthew, I'm like, look at me now. Like I never thought I would be here where I am now. But yeah, every time I get to play a new character or a new game, I feel that like surge of excitement and energy because it's a challenge. Like I get to role play with you guys, and you guys are so fantastic. And every time it's like, what's going to happen? Like, I don't know. Anything could happen. And it's so exciting for me. So there's the actor side of me. And I think now why I play the actor side of me and like just the nerd side of me. And they both get to like coagulate into this wonderful world that I get to be a part of.
Yeah. Totally. It's awesome. And you remind me of like what I think we all experience, which is, what is it about this that makes everyone that does it and likes it and gets into it not be able to do it in moderation?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like anybody that likes it at all is like, I'm starting out my second campaign next week. Like they can't just be, they're like, no, I love Pathfinder, love it, but like I can't do it more than once a month. Like they want to do it whenever they can do it.
Yeah.
Like and how many ways they can
I
do it.
wanted to do it
you
for
know?
work. I saw something and I was like, I'd like to actually do that more. I like to actually do that all the time.
And you see that with everybody in this hobby.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's just, you're either all in or all out. It's
I call it phase 2.
phase two.
phase two.
What's phase 3? Like Ascension?
You come back to reality.
Oh, okay. It's ups and
Too
downs.
much.
This is too
What
much.
happened to my marriage? Kate, how about you? Why do you play this nonsense?
I do it for the bag.
True.
I'm
Up
here,
top.
I'm here for the money.
Up top.
How about the
Yeah, for the bag. At the end of each session, when the
She's a
cameras
merc.
go off, we just hand Kate a giant bag of
She's
cash.
the only
got a
person
dollar
that's
sign
paid
on the
by
outside of
a
it.
bag of cash with a dollar sign.
No, I don't know. Like when I was growing up, I like playing pretend. I have a very vivid imagination. Like I'm one of those people. It's like picture an apple. I'm like the apple. It's in the living room and it's got sun shining on. Like I see the whole thing. When we're playing, I'm like in my brain, like seeing everything, watching the movie. So like I've always grown up just like playing pretend with my friends and stuff like that. And then
And
like
yet you won't watch a movie in real life.
that's why I fucking hate movies. Nothing's gonna
Nothing
be
as good as this.
what's
Yeah.
up here.
That's fair. That's fair.
The best movie is in your mind.
Yeah.
You should see mine.
Oh God!
But when
Directing one right now.
when I discovered like role playing games, like not so much D&D, but like I remember I saw Michael playing Mass Effect 2. And I was like, he was playing one of the dialogue parts and you're choosing the dialogue. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? And he's like, it's the shooting game I played that you're always like not interested in. I'm like, but you get to do this part where you're like interacting with the characters and like choosing if you're good or bad and choosing the dialogue and effects for later. And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, and that's how I got into Mass Effect and like third person shooters and that type of thing. And reading's always been really hard because I fall asleep, but like creating stories in your brain, it's just so fun. And now that I do this, I feel like the reason has morphed into, I think I like improv acting.
It's okay. It's okay.
Wow.
It's a safe space. It's
okay.
a,
I think
we
I-
all
the other poisonous, toxic
I like
hobbies.
just showing up and things happening.
Yeah.
And you never know how it's going to end.
We
or what
all-
other people are going to do.
we all like
And
improv.
you come with a character that's like half baked. Don't come with it full baked. Come with it half baked.
Yeah, let's bake it here.
And you
Best
bake it
kind of
together.
Yeah,
Yeah. One
If
big,
you bring
one
the
big
ingredients, we'll make it here.
Make it here.
So
cookie. Beautiful, beautiful analogy.
that's my
Good
journey.
analogy.
We may occasionally not read the last sentence of the recipe.
Yeah.
Do we miss like
part of the magic.
salt, one of the most important ingredients? Sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is
Yeah.
the cookie okay? Not really. But are we with friends?
We'll try again tomorrow.
Try again tomorrow.
It's not legal, but we still have a good time.
Well, you know, I think a lot of people that watch us, that gravitate towards us, that are loyal to us, they share the same reasons why. They share the same beliefs that we have and why we play these games, why we gravitate towards this, why we enjoy this as a form of entertainment, both as a consumer and as a producer of that entertainment. And it's important, especially after a couple of tough weeks where, you know, the table can get a little hot and there's like a little character death and stuff like that, to just sort of take a step back and remind yourself why you do it, and to remind you as well why we do it. Stay tuned, and we're going to play some more pretend. I'd like to thank our sponsors today, Actors Access.
Where dreams go to die. What's Actors Access?
Oh, they've pulled out. It's Demiplane, Foundry, VTT, and Norse Foundry. You want to up your game across the board, you should get involved with all three of these sponsors. And I'm not just saying that. They're really great.
Yeah, they elevate our game. Our game is so much better.
Very exciting.
Because of all three. Yeah.
I mean, without Norse Foundry, how would my character have died?
right.
Matthew.
And
no.
without Demiplane, how could you make a new one?
Matthew, let's be honest. It's not Norse Foundry's fault. It's your fault and your bad decision making.
Wow.
Wow. Wow.
Just
That
had
shit
such a
just
nice
happened.
talk.
Hey,
Right before
hey.
the break, we had a warm moment, and now we're right back to reality.
Hey, I've been there. I had a character die actually first. I don't know if you remember. It was pretty intense. And like,
You got Francis.
Even Francis was like, no, it wasn't.
what was her name? Nobody remembers.
Jim?
Yeah. What was
What was
his
her
name?
name?
No,
Jim?
it's
What was that guy's name?
Jim Diamond.
Tommy. Tommy. It was Tommy. No, it stinks. And it
Steve.
stinks when, because it was the same thing. And we talked about this.
one.
It stinks when it's you. rolling the die. Like you feel as though you've killed your character.
You've betrayed your character's
Yeah.
trust. They trusted you to shepherd them to a peaceful and wonderful epilogue.
And you...
It's really interesting. You bring up a good point. In 2E, they've really put it on the player.
Yeah.
Like, I can kill you with massive damage. How often does that happen? It really comes down to, please roll your final death.
Please kill your character.
Please kill your character.
You're still the one bringing us to 0 hit points.
What came first, the chicken or the egg? All right?
Look, I don't want to get into a philosophical
Very
debate.
quick.
Talk
Don't blame
semantics
me.
all day.
Are you proud of yourself? Do you sleep well at night?
I mean, I think if you've watched Fodder, you all know by now that Talitha died 2 episodes ago.
Yeah.
Because you broke the rules.
And then fate stepped in and you died for real. Then. But yeah, I mean, I do feel bad. I feel bad for a number of reasons. It's still very early in the campaign. To lose 2 characters this early, it's a lot.
Have you killed more of my characters than anyone else?
Yes.
Is it true? You killed a lot of Joe's characters. Too.
No pause.
I have killed a lot of Joe's characters, but I would say if you add every character
and
up
the animal
across
companions.
multiple shows, if we're counting them,
Joe by a landslide.
then I think it's you. I think it's you. Certainly across the main show, but there have been some TPKs and other shows that you've been.
Well, that
But
counts
the
for everyone.
Tor show, you're on your 3rd character by now,
yeah.
4th.
That's true.
Yeah, you are.
4th, maybe.
Okay, I've lost track. That's how many characters. It's brutal, and this is the first time. Correct me if I'm wrong, where you've had to abandon the corpse.
That sucked.
That sucked.
Corpse
That was
is a name.
I'm saying.
But like when
the
you're
mutilated corpse.
when you're fighting, you forget that like an option is running away.
yeah. Well, we tried.
Like
we
we're
were
all
trying.
we're all completionists.
We were
But
trying.
I guess, yeah, it was hard to run away in this map. But like, yeah, once the door was open for us to run, it was open
Too
because
late.
you died.
Yeah.
Well, you left some cool stuff behind.
We're going to
Yeah.
go back and get it.
No, we're
Snail
not.
ate me.
Oh, you didn't drop it? Like we have to do every time we like want to hold
As
something.
I was dying, I
also-
was removing my coin purse from my person to be like, tell my story.
Here's my apple.
Wow, you know what? I didn't even think of that
Yeah.
till this moment.
Oh, I was thinking about it immediately.
What?
Her goggles, her gold.
Didn't think about
thought
that.
about
Well, her
all of it.
gold, sure,
No,
but
here's the thing we didn't
snail's
think about.
eating
What?
her.
What if it was Zephyr? She has the key.
Oh, we would have went.
We would have had to go back.
Yeah, we would
Gotta
have.
go back.
And then what if the
Gotta go
snail?
back.
Gotta go
What if the
back.
snail
You gotta go
ate it
back,
and you have to
Kate.
kill the snail?
Well, then we'd have to
in
kill
order
the
to get
snail.
it
Or
out
you
of
go
its
back and
body.
the snail is wearing it.
Floating above the river.
Man, I don't like that dude.
Yeah, I don't like that snail.
Yeah, it
Also-
sucks that he's still out there too.
Brother Amius, Talitha had some shiver on her.
He's like, we have to go back.
Well, it was tragic. We thought about it. We played it last week, and now we're back to move on. Like we have to move on, and it's tricky. So let's open up today with a rap song.
Wow.
Very tricky. No, we're going to open up today in the imagination copter, looking out the window, and we'll start amongst ruins. You have some good ruins music.
Oh, never.
The music of the ruin.
Ruins.mp3.
Music of the ruins. I'll bring up something. I'll play something.
Okay.
I literally hit play. It was like, oh my God, it infected my computer.
All right, we'll start among ruins. We'll see pillars, cracked pillars, remnants of what must have been a wall of a larger building at some point. It's all cracked, broken down to the ground. We just kind of pan across this until we come to a humble stone archway. Zooming out from this archway, we now see that the area is thick with massive trees and jungle. We hear the sounds of wildlife in the distance. Insects buzzing close by. Your camera ear.
A little behind the scenes. We were Troy didn't say anything to me about this. I just know we're in the jungle. So I was testing some sounds pre-show, and one of which was a mosquito sound. And I just had it in the background. And I thought I turned it off, and I hadn't. And we were getting silence pre-show for room tone. And just like completely sitting here in silence. And then way in the back of my ear, I heard as if a literal mosquito had like gone near somebody's mic, which is like in the background. And Sydney was like...
We were all like...
Did you hear it?
Because I thought it was also a bug. I was like, what the?
I thought it was ghost hunters, and we had captured like audio of the ghost.
Troy was trying to convince us it was a ghost.
This is very Ghost Hunters lighting
crying
that we have
ghost.
today.
Spooky.
It was a crying ghost. I hate this place. Perhaps to leave this ghost.
Oh.
She's fictional. So we hear the
Fictional ghost.
distant sounds of wildlife, ruins, gate, and then in this sort of musicality of the scene, a humming. And we see the gate crackle with electricity. Now we go to a different perspective. Maybe we're far away in the sky looking down on this scene. There's trees everywhere, but where the ruins are, where the stone archway is, there's a clearing. So we have a very clear view into this, and we see a single person walk through that gate. Even from this far away, we can tell that they don't know where they are. And now we'll switch to this person's perspective. We see through their eyes. We see them see flora, every color in the rainbow. Maybe the hands of this person reach out to touch a multicolored vine that's climbing up one of the plinths that supports the archway.
Plinth, nice.
That word?
Yeah.
Good use of the word.
So proud of yourself.
Not me Googling
play.
plinth right now.
Praised for
Hell.
my plinth.
Oh, it's a heavy base supporting a statue.
Nice plinth, bro.
Thanks.
Sweet plinth.
You been lifting?
Yep. You can tell. Let me flex my plinth real
Your
quick.
legs, they're like plinths.
Your plinth-like stature precedes you. We can tell from the way the hand is inspecting the area, they are marveling at what they see. Maybe this figure spies a small lizard, like a little gecko or something, sitting on a branch, turned away. And figure walks up, and the lizard turns, and it has two heads. One is like the head of a mouse, and the other like a rabbit. And the figure jumps back, and the lizard darts off into the brush. This is a mouse, lizard, rabbit. It's a very strange place. While this figure is standing here, in that moment, the sky goes dark overhead. Something large is flying above this person. The figure looks up and just sees a massive body full of scales swoop by, blotting out the sun for a moment. And it's in that moment they also notice deep gouges in the stone nearby, a scat pile the size of a small horse, and they take off running into the jungle, pushing branches and limbs out of the way, the sounds of the animals getting louder, the sounds of the buzzings of the insects getting louder and louder, closer and closer to the ears. Maybe we hear this figure pant, heartbeat, sort of out of step with the heartbeat of the jungle, just like noise. And then we black out. Maybe time has passed. Days, hours. It's unclear. But yet again, we're way up high, looking into a clearing in the jungle as this same figure emerges. How long have they been traveling? We don't know. But we watch them sort of take in this scene, look around, and then we slowly come in on this person to reveal their face. It is a young man, maybe 40s. He's got a stubble, gray-black stubble hair, dark hair, with some flecks of gray in it. Perhaps a small scar snaking down his cheek through the stubble, down into the side of his neck, and his face is shock, awe. And we turn to what he's seeing a hill. We follow his gaze up the hill to a boulder which has been carved into the unmistakable likeness of an elf. And then we come out of that scene.
So we're on Castroville.
Could be anywhere.
It could be
Who's
anywhere,
to say?
especially Castroville.
Yeah. Who's to say if it's Castroville or not?
Or Castroville.
Or could be Castroville.
You mean the famous alien planet
Elven
of
alien
elves,
planet?
where the
Jungle
great
planet?
statue of elves rises from the jungle foliage?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It could be
What's the other option?
Castroville.
Right.
So
You blew it up! You blew it all up!
Oh, damn you!
Well, let's have the imagination copter veer now through the sky.
Like a Huey flying over the jungle.
So he shoots it down,
Like the Hueys in Nam.
That's right.
and it will take us elsewhere. Because as we fade out of that scene, we now come up on a much different scene. We are on the grounds of a Gothic manor house. There's a wrought iron gate built into this large iron fence which is surrounding the grounds of this manor house. Tons of acreage. See a gravel path winding from the gate up to the manor's courtyard, where a group of ibises, these like little flamingo-like birds, are frolicking in a fountain. So we just kind of come in on these birds, and then we start looping around the fountain where we see a figure sitting on the fountain's edge. Maybe they have their back to us. One of the birds flaps its wings and darts off. Maybe it was startled, and the figure turns towards us with their piercing cat eyes. It's Lucky.
Me?
So crazy how you just jump right into that.
Nailed it. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, professional actor.
Yes. And go on.
Turn to look at the sound of the birds, and maybe you see the reason that the birds scattered off. Someone inadvertently startled them, and you see this person. You do that thing where you like make eye contact. You don't know if you're supposed to look away quick, smile, or like say hello. And they're experiencing that same thing. I imagine you've spoken to this person. I don't know how close your relationship with them is, but it's still pretty new. And that person is Talitha Breakwater.
So you showed up.
I'm ready for our session.
All right.
Talitha brandishes her rapier.
All right. Well, hold on. Put it away.
I thought we were.
We're going to. You have to do your stance right. How long have you been fighting?
I've been fighting a battle in my mind my whole life.
That's very poetic. How long have you had that sword?
Bought it in town 5 days ago.
Okay. Let's start with the basics.
On guard.
No.
I'm joking. I joke.
Okay, hold on. And Lucky takes her wakizashi that was down, and she pulls it out of its
Talitha
sheath.
jumps back.
Okay, you can't be afraid.
Just logical. Just stand back from swords.
You ever heard the saying, don't bring a knife to a crossbow fight?
No.
The whole point of having a weapon is you...
Don't bring a knife to a crossbow fight. This is something people
It's
say.
a really common saying where I'm from.
Talitha writes it down.
Don't have to write it down. It's not important.
It was interesting.
If you have a weapon, you have to know how to use it. Because if you're fighting someone who has a weapon, they know how to use it better than you do, probably. Well, especially in your case. My point is, if you don't know how to use the rapier, don't bring it to a fight. So if you really want to learn, I'll show you, but you have to be confident.
I want to learn.
All right, tie your hair up, otherwise it's going to get in the way.
Ties her hair up.
First of all is the stance. You want to have your weight on your back foot, not on your front. So when you pull your sword out, you lean towards the back. When you swing forward, you switch the weight to your front foot. Does that make sense?
Got it.
Now, when I fight with my wakizashi, it's a little different. And I also have my kopesh. So you just have the one, right?
Just the one.
All right, well, let's, I don't know, hit something. Let's see how you do. Try to hit me.
And she pulls out the rapier, and then she goes in for a lunge.
And Lucky just steps out of the way.
And Talitha has like decent book learning technique. Like she's read about fencing.
I was gonna say she's like a fencer though. She's like doing like like a lot of fencing.
Well, I think she's never had an actual rapier. So she's read books on fencing, but she's never actually fenced with an opponent.
Okay. Lucky like steps out of the way.
She knew the thing about the weight distribution, but she was humoring you.
It's all theory.
So then let's say maybe it's all
Theory
theory.
and practice. Yeah.
Lucky steps out of the way, but she's surprised. That was a good lunge.
I had time to study the classics.
Huh. All right, let's go again.
And they start
And then they start
fighting.
actually, Lucky is kind of blocking her shots and stepping back and stepping back and stepping back, and she pauses and she says, "That's actually quite impressive. You've kind of boxed me in here."
I had a lot of time to study growing up.
Where are you from again?
That's the way I like to think about it is that I'm from the gate I walked out of. Same as you.
Huh. I'm not from the gate I walked out of.
All right. As you wish.
I'm actually from a small village. You probably wouldn't know it.
Try me.
Have you ever heard of the Mother's Teat?
Roll a knowledge check. Natural 15.
It's the proper name is Teetha.
I've heard of Teetha.
Any
Yeah.
relation to the mother's teeth?
Yeah, well, that's the name. Yeah, that's its name. But everybody from there calls it the Mother's Teat because when you're from there, you don't leave. You're sucking at the Mother's Teat.
I understand.
But I left.
You left before you walked through the gate.
Yeah.
Interesting. For me, I was a prisoner. There was no leaving for me. The gate was my way out.
Really? That's interesting.
Yes.
A prisoner of your mind, so to speak, or?
No,
Oh, no, you were in a prison.
I was not in a prison, but I was not allowed to leave. Sometimes I wonder if that was for good measure. I'm hoping to make a life for myself that is good in the world and does. Yes.
So I'm not going to pry about your personal life.
What did you see in the gate? If
What?
you don't mind me asking. Sorry, if that's personal. I'm curious.
No, but I saw. It was me. Did you see yourself?
I did.
Oh, all right. Yeah, it's like a mirror, but like it wasn't me. Like it was me, but maybe older, or I don't know. I was powerful. It was me if I had made other choices. I was winning. Do you know what I mean?
Winning.
I was on top. I was the best.
Oh.
Is that what you saw?
And you walked through the gate to have that.
I thought I would. Why wouldn't I? It was me.
Perhaps that's what makes us different. I saw myself crossing a vast plain, exploring a forest, treehouse, a compound of homes in a tree. I saw myself in the jungle. I saw myself all the places I had read about my entire life but never got to see. And yet I didn't go through the gate for that. I said that's not my destiny.
What did you go through the gate for?
My brother. I couldn't let him. He walked through the gate. I don't know what he saw, but I couldn't let him go alone.
You have a brother who walked through the gate too?
I do. He never returned. I'm trying to find him. I want to know what happened to him, where he is.
I understand. Huh. I didn't know that's how the Ayudara worked. I thought it just showed you. My thought of it was, it tricks you. It shows you what you most want. It knew who I was. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
It knew my past. It knew what I wanted in the future. It knew what I had done. It's like it was all of that at the same time, but it was telling me that I could achieve it. I could become what I wanted to always become.
It's exactly how I felt. But I suppose what I admire about you, Lucky, is that you went through the gate and you sought it. I was too afraid.
You did go through it.
Yes, I did, I guess. Now here we are, and perhaps what great adventures lie before us. Perhaps, have you gotten what you saw?
No. But
You are powerful, though.
it's not enough. I have things I need to do, and I need to be in full control. I need to amass an army. I need way more power than I think I can ever get. But I think that's the trick of it. But I don't think it was an accident that I met you. I think I needed you. I think we need each other. And maybe that's how you solve it. Maybe it's not a trick. Maybe it's like a puzzle or a riddle. I was never good at riddles. I don't know. I'm still working on it, figuring it out. Yes.
Perhaps you have solved it. You wish to find power and companionship, fellows at arms. And we are with you, Lucky. She holds up her rapier and is like, we have much to learn from you. She takes her stance.
Lucky stretches, and she has her kind of crop top on. You see her long stomach with her mark of the gate that's almost like branded, tattooed around her. I was gonna say belly button, but cats have nipples. So nipples along her stomach, I guess.
Wait a minute.
I don't know. Catfolk.
Catfolk nipples?
Catfolk belly button. I don't know how it works.
Maybe
actually.
catfolk have belly buttons.
I'm gonna say the catfolk have belly buttons because
Or maybe they have a nipple on each of one of your washboard abs.
she's got boobs. I'm confused now.
Yeah, this is what's confusing.
I'm getting in the weeds. She stretches.
I want to figure this out.
Maybe she's just wearing a whole shirt.
All right, where is it in the player core?
There's a right answer, and I don't want to know it. So she stretches.
Just one nipple where your belly button.
No, it's
long.
not.
Maybe she's wearing a coat today.
We don't know what's going on down
That's a
there.
sash.
She picks up her kopesh that was off the edge of the fountain, shing, and her wakizashi, shing, and she kind of does the cool thing with the curved blade of the kopesh where she runs it along the wakizashi and then takes her stance with her two weapons now. And she goes, all right, I'm not going to hold back.
Please don't.
And then they start going again.
Like the end of Rocky 2.
Yeah.
Like the end.
Exactly like the end of Rocky 2.
Exactly like the end of
Freeze frame.
There's no way that doesn't end like that.
Well, those two sound like they have a bright future ahead of them. I'm very excited.
I think
And
now we
then
know.
Lucky turns toward the camera and goes, I'm going to live forever.
I think we know why you both died. You were training to leave. Self-defense.
Don't disparage
I didn't know
her
I was
fighting.
choosing a teacher who would be felled by a mere fox. A common fox.
A common fox.
It crit on
But
me.
wait, the fox then turned into a druid warrior, right?
No, it
Surely.
Surely.
was just a fox.
Had to have been a 10th level fox, right?
At least,
Sorry,
Leaf-
it was just a fox.
Really strong fox.
Cats get killed by foxes all the time. That's why
Unfortunately.
you shouldn't let them out.
It's true.
at least Talitha was killed by an unbalanced creature we weren't prepared for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true. One was killed by a fox and one was killed by a snail. And that is what the histories will say.
Giant snail. Giant snail.
It had legs.
Centipede legs.
It had legs and friends.
Legs and many friends.
You can shoot parts of it at us.
Shoot its friends at us.
Well, yeah, take that all in. Flashback from the past, and we'll be back right after this quick break. We're back. We just had a lot of laughs during the break. You can't know, but
Secret laughs.
Secret
You laugh
laughs.
so hard.
helicopter cuts through this conservatory. The water from the fountain sprays everywhere.
All over Talitha. Hey, wait a minute. Sorry. Can you give me some perspective on that scene? Where was that scene happening?
Before the adventure.
Yeah.
Before. Oh, okay. So this
in
is during our
heaven.
time
Conservatory.
with
With Professor.
before we went off
It
together.
feels like maybe we kind of just met, like they didn't know each other that well yet.
Yeah, and I think the
We knew each
thing.
other some, but
We knew each other. It's like you had a few conversations. She knew I fought, and
I felt like that never came up in the show. Like I felt like at some point you were like going to help her train or something. That never came up.
I think it was
talked
a
about it.
continuation. I think every so often Lucky would help Talitha train.
Right. So I was wondering if that manor was like in Seven Arches or something. But yeah,
was
so
in
this was
Dr.
pre
Riddleson.
the
Yeah.
events
Dr. Riddleson's manor.
of
Yeah.
episode 1.
The Manor House.
Manor House.
Pre-story. You know, we talked so much about our whys with role playing. I wanted to focus in on sort of the whys of the characters as well, and starting with these two departed characters is a good way to go. But let's stay in this scene. Maybe it's the same time, concurrent with that scene. Maybe it's previous, maybe it's after, but it's the same location or in another part of the estate, a garden perhaps. And we just see a row of flowers. And then there's one flower that is like broken. Maybe somebody trampled over it. And we see a hand come in, like a grayish hand, lift the flower up, dig at the dirt a little bit, mound some fresh dirt over to make the flower stand up. And it's Brother Ramius. And his brother Ramius is working at this garden somewhere on this estate. You hear a voice pipe up from behind. Thank you for that.
Oh, so sorry. Give me a moment. Stands up slowly, turns around.
You turn and you see Dr. Edward Riddleson.
Oh, Dr. Riddleson. Hello. How are you?
Good, Brother
Ramius. Of
right.
Latria. Yes.
Right. How are you finding your time here?
It is quite excellent. The grounds are beautiful. Truly an impressive garden.
Thank you. Yes, my family, they did a lot to make it look this nice. I try my best to keep it as well as they kept it.
I'm not sure if I've had the time to speak with you before. To just honestly say how grateful I am for this opportunity to stay at this lovely place. As you know, I've been a bit without a home for some time and a little transient, and so it's wonderful again to be able to lay one's head on a soft pillow and get a good night's sleep.
Yes, well, no, that we're all in the same boat, as it were. Everything that has happened to you has happened to us, although we don't really know what that was. So I'd like to thank you as much as you thanking me. Hope you don't mind me saying so, but I've noticed since you arrived, you've been mainly keeping to yourself.
Yes, well, I do love the gardening. I do love the plants and the fresh air. And I haven't made many friends, is all. But I'm sure that comes with time.
Yes. After I returned from the gate, I felt isolated as well. I kept to myself. I just felt used. Abused is probably a strong word, but it's like something had come to me in my sleep and violated me, not knowing what happened on the other side and walking through, losing that time. I was ashamed. But I soon realized that in order to expiate these feelings, I needed to find others who experienced what I experienced. Now, you've done half the work just by coming here. That's brave. That's very brave of you to do that. But now I would suggest you reach out, try to forge bonds with the other people here. A time may come when I will need to assemble a group of you to send you out into the field for research. I need leaders like you. Most of the people here, they're too young, too green. I can tell that you have experienced a lot in your young life.
Well, in all honesty, I've led a very cloistered life. This is why I have trouble talking with some of the folk here. They don't. We have very different experiences. The friends that I made before were more family than anything. I've never built a friendship that wasn't based around people I was already living with, already sharing a strong faith with, doing chores day in and day out with one sort of, I don't want to say single-minded, but a very clear focus on why we were all there. Folks here are here for so many different reasons. You could say that there is one grand reason that brought us all together, but for each one of us, it must be so different. Why we pursue this. And so I just ask that you grant me the honor of, despite my honest lack of experience, the honor of going on whatever active quest you put together to make this happen, because I must do something. I must try. I cannot just sit around here waiting.
I understand. I hope you don't mind, but when you arrived, I looked into your abbey to learn more about you, and I can't find any records of it.
Yes, it's very small and specific faith that is not very popular in Avestan, and therefore most people it does not ring any bells for them. And we were far out in the country and mostly kept to ourselves. Our focus was on writing and reading, on copying the great works and texts of Gurhasta, elevating his writing. And while we wish, of course, for everyone to know and understand the light that can be gained from faith in this incredible man, there is a certain lack of active preaching or missioning that we do. And so I feel that we are still very small, not well known.
Maybe as you're gesturing or something, you're gesturing with your hands, he notices like a burn scar or or something. I don't know where they are on your body. I don't know how much you've talked
They're
about
mostly on his back, but yeah, they can run up his arm for sure.
He just kind of looks at that. Maybe you see him looking at that. And I don't know how much you've talked with him about what went down, but he's like, if I'm asking too many questions you don't feel comfortable with, feel free to just deflect. But were there others who survived?
Yes, there were. Some survived. But too few, Doctor, too few. There were many of us. It was a small abbey, but there were 114 of us. When the fire struck, and only 5 survived. And I don't know why I did.
On the night of the missing moment, something compelled you to walk through.
Yes.
You shared it with anyone?
I have not. It was too painful a memory. I don't know that it needs to be shared. Have you shared your gate moment with everyone?
No. Growing up, my family had a riverboat called the Moss Maid. It's nothing too fancy, but they were great patrons of the arts, and always throwing these must-attend parties here, both at the estate house and on this riverboat. They would host galas to raise money for the local university here in Leberstadt. They were the toast of the town for a long time. Very generous people, and I would attend these parties even as an adolescent. But on the night of one of these riverboat parties, I had fallen ill. I was bedridden, a terrible sickness, which I obviously recovered from. I was in and out of sleep that night, and I awoke to the sounds of far-off screams. So I used what little strength I had in my weakened condition to pull myself out of bed and rush to the porch, where I looked out toward the river in the distance and saw the Moss Maid engulfed in flames. Oh no. It had to be a nightmare, I thought to myself. I tried to shake myself out of it, a fever dream perhaps, but it wasn't. I darted toward the shore as best I could, praying that perhaps the water would put out the flames before I got there. And when I reached the edge of the water, I watched the entire boat go up in smoke. My entire family was aboard the ship that night when it burned down. This was left to me, but it means very little.
Oh, I imagined you would trade it all.
That is what I saw in the gate.
I'm so sorry, Dr. Riddleson. It's such a tragedy. I know how it feels. I know how alone and cut off you must have felt.
Yes. So when I saw my family alive in the gate, I couldn't help but walk through. So many others here have been tempted by visions of everything they've ever wanted in life. And yet that time has been taken from us. Whatever that was, we did not get. Or did we? We have no idea. Some power from beyond has duped us and stolen our lives, a chunk of our lives. All of this is to say, I know what it is to lose people close to you. And I can tell you from experience, having something to attach yourself to can help in the healing process. I suppose I've jumped from cause to cause over time, seeking these things, trying to walk in the giant footsteps that my parents left behind. This consortium was perhaps born out of this need to No. But all of us who have suffered this invisible pain of the gates, our markings, he shows the markings on his neck, are a constant reminder of that time that was taken from us. We can heal, but we must be active participants in that process.
Yes, I appreciate you saying that. I've been working hard. At the Abbey, I was pretty strictly worked the grounds. I helped with the hunting and with the groundskeeping, and I was an apprentice there to that for many, many years, and I had no skill or training whatsoever in the physician's building, and ever since the disaster and my recovery, I've learned a great deal about the body and its healing process. And so I've been working, trying to learn more about how to help people that are hurt and patch these things up. And Gruhasta is, bless him, guiding my way as well. So I would be very eager should you put a team together. I would very much like to help. I think that I could offer my aid as a medic of sorts. I would love to try, at least.
It's good to know.
Thank you.
Did you plant drugs in my garden? A flyleaf bush?
It is, how... Is that a flyleaf bush? I didn't even notice I was working the daffodil in front of it.
We'll talk, brother. Talk. Sniffs the air.
Man, I always thought if you were going to go grow some serious weed, it always just like made perfect sense to me. Like,
Put it in your garden.
just grow it in the garden in front of like a manor house, like around the right side with like a bunch of other flowers around it.
Up at the cloisters.
Yeah.
Right,
Like,
exactly.
Amongst the
Just go for the cloisters.
Plant weed at the
Or
cloister.
like, you know those little weird parks in Manhattan that are just like a triangle that are like 25 feet long? Like really weird little tiny gardens. It's like, why doesn't somebody who lives in this apartment building just grow weed in there? Nobody would ever look, nobody would ever notice.
in amongst the other weed, like weed.
Yeah, all
weeds.
a bunch of other like bunch of junk bushes and stuff like that.
Harvested at night.
Exactly.
All right, so from there, let's cut to maybe the gates. I mentioned the gate, the wrought iron fence, the gate opening. We don't see anybody there. Then we pan down and see a goblin.
Oh, little buggles.
Buggles. I don't know, in your mind's eye, how did you imagine you came to Lepidstadt to come to this manor?
I don't know.
Read a flyer.
I don't think he has like any memory of what he saw, or maybe that might all just
all a
be
blur. He
lost to him.
came out and just found himself here.
I think the last memory he has, like I picture him in this garden, just literally chasing butterflies. I think he's just chasing, he's like chasing butterflies around. And I think he might, like if there's a tree or something, if there's a tree, he seems completely carefree, just running around after these bugs, and then sees the tree, like something strikes him, and he just stares up at this tree, the branches, thinking about something that he was told before he came here, and that sort of stops him in his tracks.
And you're staring up at the tree when a voice pipes up. Pardon me, Mr. Buggles, is it?
And he just sort of shyly turns around towards the source of the voice.
It's a tall man. He's dressed in like a butler's outfit. And you met him when you arrived. He's the major domo for the estate. His name is Alwyn Kivarak. So sorry to bother you, Mr. Buggles. I understand you've been here for some time. Dr. Riddleson is trying to ensure that your accommodations are appropriate for you. It's just we've had a lot of people arrive as of late, and it's been a struggle trying to make sure everyone is situated. We want to make sure that you are most comfortable here.
Oh, yes. Yes, Mr. Alwyn, yes. Quite generous. Thank you.
I hope you're not offended by this question. You are the only one of your kind here at the estate at the moment. Is there any type of cuisine that you prefer? Anything, any delicacies that you require?
Oh, no. I am accustomed to eating whatever is popular.
Excellent, good. And again, our apologies for the dogs. We've moved the hounds into a kennel. They won't be roaming the grounds, and we've stabled the horses as well. I know.
His breath catches.
We've killed all the horses.
We've murdered all the horses.
Slain all the horses.
Eating horse for dinner this evening. We understand we were startled by these beasts. It is something that we take for granted, and we do apologize for that, Dr. Richardson.
I am sorry. I didn't mean to cause any trouble.
No trouble at all. We want to make sure that you feel safe here. I know you are a long way from home. Where is it you are from again?
And he just sort of like clams up, kind of purses his lips together, and he just looks up and sort of shakes his head and shrugs.
Very well. I will be with you shortly to attend to any needs you may have. Dr. Riddleson is gathering everyone for a meeting later today. If there's anything you need in the meantime, please just let me or the others know.
And he just sort of nods his head rapidly.
And he walks away, but as he leaves the frame, you see in the distance, sitting alone, a young half-elf. Just, what are you doing there? You chilling? Smoking a cig?
Some boy leaf.
Smoke a play
Ripping
leaf.
butts?
Probably like, I don't know how you tend to a bow, but like tending to it.
Oil it.
Oil it? Yeah, it's a
Restringing
wooden.
oil.
Probably oiling it. Just finding something to do. I feel like she's bored in this limbo of being at a manor and not being out.
R.I.P. Zephyr's bow.
Yeah. Remember that bow?
The real loss of that episode.
It's true.
Zephyr's bow. Am I right?
We zoom in on the bow.
Did we lose anything else? I don't know.
2024 to 2024.
Yeah. I'll be doing that.
So Buggles, you see this half elf, you assume? You see the ears? Looks elf, maybe elf. Just oiling up a bow.
So yeah, Buggles sees her sitting over there, and he studiously kind of is avoiding looking at her, but is sort of trying to casually get closer and closer to her. So he's sort of pretending to be wandering aimlessly, but is just sort of like getting closer and closer, like as he wanders about. And he's sort of like picking flowers, like any like wildflower, like dandelions, like anything like that. You know, not anything that's like curated, but you know, he's just grabbing like any little clovers and dandelions. And he sidles up to her with his hands behind his back and hello.
Oh. Hey.
What are you doing?
Oh, just upkeeping my bow while we're, got some downtime and needs to be tended to so that it stays good.
Oh.
Yeah, just it's made of wood, so I just keep it oiled so it stays flexible.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Hmm.
What are you doing?
I'm a guest of the doctor's. I'm just.
And he sort of like just clams up again. It's kind of purses
So
his
awkward.
lips. Kinda looking away.
Me too. Actually, I've seen you around. We haven't met. I'm Zephyr.
Oh,
And he reaches out his hand to reflexively to shake her hand, and it's the hand full of those flowers. and
Oh,
and he gets like blushes like a dark green, and he just like he hands them to her.
and I think she is surprised but laughs like that. She's like, "Oh, thanks. This is very pretty."
I thought you might like them.
Yeah, I do.
I think he's into you.
Hey, is this guy bothering you?
Bouncer comes
Hi,
over.
is this guy bothering you?
The problem here.
Do you like puddings? Pudding?
Yeah. Who wouldn't like pudding, right?
I like pudding.
Yeah. I like chocolate pudding.
Oh,
You like chocolate pudding?
I was never allowed to eat chocolate pudding.
Oh.
It looks good.
Maybe if they have some here, we can make some.
What?
Try it.
I like that.
Yeah.
All right. Goodbye.
All right. Bye.
And he
You
just
like
sort of
scurry away.
yeah.
We fade out.
Just like watches you leave. Like goes back to
Were you eating plain pudding?
right. What flavor? Are you eating?
Unflavored.
He's never
pudding?
vanilla.
Vanilla, yeah.
Vanilla is very popular in Arcadia.
Vanilla pudding. But the cocoa bean has not made its way to the island.
Well, they had it, but it was not for the staff.
One of those.
I love vanilla pudding.
That's good.
I think I'll take it over chocolate pudding almost
I
every
would not.
time.
I would not say that, but
no, Matt,
have a
Matt
real-
had the reaction I had. What the hell?
vanilla is underrated, but it's
Well, I have
properly
a,
rated beneath chocolate.
It's a delicate flavor.
I have a
a
real
delicate flavor.
aversion to people using vanilla as an adjective to mean like plain and uninteresting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because vanilla is a really interesting flavor that it's really expensive. We've just
Right.
Yeah.
ascribed it to a really popular flavor.
Yeah. In our decadent society, we've become accustomed to such luxuries,
Yes.
and we've lost appreciation.
I think also there's the faux vanilla versus real vanilla, which is like a really wonderful flavor, but a lot of the vanilla flavored things are like not what vanilla actually tastes like. So I'm not disagreeing. I just like chocolate better.
I love a Stoli vanilla.
Yeah, with a Diet Coke.
Oh,
Yep.
Yeah. Go for one right now.
Tastes like a cream soda.
I know what I'm
Does
getting
it?
for lunch.
Oh yeah.
Stoli vanilla's all around.
Dude, that's how we executives do it. The 2 Stoli vanilla lunch.
That's awesome. I'm in.
Stoli vanilla and diet. So Buggles walks away and Zephyr's just left holding these flowers. And we see those flowers just sort of fade and turn into some other type of flora. Same colors, but much different. Grass and weeds and vines all gnarled. And instead of being lit by the daylight sun of Lepestadt, they are lit by the flame of a campfire. Somewhere in this jungle, you've escaped the snail. You've got to safety, but you now have been attacked twice by these strange creatures, these amalgamations of other beasts that would have been just mundane to you in the past. Monkey, scorpion, snail, centipede. What is everyone doing in this moment? I'd say it's probably been a few hours. Maybe you had to really trek. You've gone off what little path there was to just find some place that seems safe and away from danger, carefully moving. So it slowed down your movement, but you found a place that through Zephyr's scouting, perhaps, you feel like it's safe enough for now. What's everybody doing?
I think Buggles, once we have like a moment to breathe and to think, he's sort of just lying on his side, sort of quietly weeping like Pippin after Moria is clutching Talitha's hand crossbow.
Zephyr's probably like nearby. She's not going to cry with you, but like a few feet away so that you know she's nearby, and also just like crying to herself probably.
Ramius is just rubbing one hand into the other, staring into the fire, just like flickering in his eyes, and there's a darkness in his eyes, and he's got a cigarette in his outer hand, his finger that's like just burning. Long ash on the end of it. He's just grinding his hands together, and his jaws clenched tight.
And Asta, her fur is still kind of wild and puffy after like being in the water and all the humidity. And after trudging through the jungle, there's just like sticks and like just stuff. Like she looks rough in this white pristine fur that's glowing more like orange and dingy in this campfire light. And she has these red sort of tassel-y things that are, she has like one around her waist and one that's on her katana. And she seems to be slowly like weaving one, kind of braiding it in some sort of fashion next to Ramius at the fire. And they're both doing the thing where they're like doing an activity together but not talking, like they're tending the fire together. And she's just sitting there, maybe like 1,000-yard stare, and maybe like humming almost inaudibly, and kind of like just like rocking, staring at the fire.
What are you humming? The thong song?
Yeah.
Very, very hummable song.
I can't even think of how to hum the thong song.
You can't like gently hum that song.
Yeah.
So inappropriate. The Ramius is like,
The Galarian version of the thong song.
She's dead!
she loved thongs.
Yeah, she's just it's just like and you can't tell what it is, but
Mandy, isn't it?
yeah, it's Mandy. It feels it feels sad. It just feels, I don't know, maybe like a folk song or something, but it's a little sad.
Song of the forests.
Is it nighttime?
Yeah.
Zephyr's definitely like in between crying, like taking her hands down and just like looking up at the stars and just getting more and more frustrated and sad because she looks up and she does not know where she is. Nothing up there looks familiar.
Because it's Castrovel.
Because it's cast.
You don't know where we are, right? It could be
Constellations on-
still on Galarian, but she does not recognize the constellations.
We keep saying Castrovel, and I do think we're on Castrovel.
Yeah.
But what is my knowledge of Castrovel, the planet, is informed by my Starfinder playing. So what is like is it common knowledge on Galarian that elves are from Castrovel? Is like that all?
This is what I asked, I think.
I don't.
No, I asked it on Cannon Fodder.
Yeah.
I asked on Cannon Fodder, like, what Troy believes is the common knowledge of people of our education level of the solar system.
Yeah.
Like right now.
Like we probably
Imagine
know
the
name of
learned
planet.
among you are familiar with the planets.
And kind of would know the elves came from Castrovel, or at one point there was an elvish planet. I don't know.
I guess that kind of very basic fact you would probably, as a semi-educated person, know something about.
And certainly Zephyr, in her histories, I'm sure your parents were like, "I can tell you about our history."
You could like point out the star in the
star,
sky. It's
yeah.
just like we came from there.
Yeah, I'm sure that kind of, not folklore, but that oral tradition had been handed down, that star is where the elves came from. Yeah,
There have been stories of people visiting from Galarian to Castrovel. Like it's not impossible to make that travel for people who are very, very powerful. There have been stories of that. It's kind of like a sister planet to Galarian in many ways, but it's nothing like a mundane, run-of-the-mill human being gets to go visit Castrovel, not unlike what it would be for us to try and go to the moon right now.
I was going to say, like Jeff Bezos going to outer space.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some rich Magnamar merchant who is like, I'm going to Castrovel next week.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I don't think I don't think almost anyone would know anything about what Castrovel is actually like right now. I would guess,
yeah, maybe.
you know.
But I mean, you could.
Voyager probe telling us that it's.
But I
Yeah.
believe
It's
that.
probably like treasure, like serious, like really rich expeditions that have gone like treasure seeking out there. You've heard stories, but it's not like you have a buddy a friend of a friend of a friend that has visited Castrovel. So,
Well, here's a
it is that,
good
you don't know.
question. I think that could put it in perspective. Is how many like 17th level casters do you think are in the world?
That I think about that a lot.
I do too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I go back and forth between like 6
here's
and thousands.
Well, here's a question: Could there be 0 for multiple generations? You know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
there's 1 in a every
I like
few
a world like
generations.
that.
I prefer a world where they're incredibly rare, but I think that like Pathfinder generally leans more towards this stuff is more everyday common. I don't like thinking that way. I would rather not play in that world. I'd rather play in a world where this kind of stuff is extremely rare and notable. But
So if you were a 17th level caster, you could teleport to Castrovel.
Right.
So like it wouldn't be that strange to have either super rich people have access to this kind of stuff, or have some of the most incredible learned wizards ever in the world could have visited it
Yeah.
and described it or written about it in books.
yeah,
I was
But then
just-
are they making? Do you trust that source?
Totally. So yeah, that's like what kind of knowledge would we
As
have?
many or more people could write just complete bullshit. So it's like, yeah, I've been there. It's all frogs.
Right. Yeah. You step on them everywhere you go.
Frogs all the way down. Bad planet.
Don't go there. It's just frogs.
Sucks.
Sucks. It's just frogs.
That's the Google review of Castrovel.
1 star. Too many frogs.
I think
It all started at check-in.
I think Ramius could speak up here.
The Ash Falls.
The ash falls. Maybe on the end of his hand, he flicks it off. He has kind of like an angry look to his face. He's just mad that this happened. You can see the series of events that led to it. Not paying enough attention to the details. Takes a breath and breathes the smoke out and join the fire smoke. He's just like, perhaps, would anyone like to say something about Talitha? Would anyone like to say something to honor her memory and send it up with the smoke? May ease our minds.
Well, I know I'm new here,
Jesus Christ.
but I like
Yes.
to think that Sister Talitha and I,
Brother.
well, big
Brother
brother Talitha
Talitha.
and I, well, you told me to say sister, but yeah, no, brother Talitha. We had grown a little close, I think. Not quite sure what it's like to be close with someone with lungs.
It's going well.
But
Going very well.
she was very tall, had pretty eyes, very nice eyes, kind eyes. She patted me on the head once. I think she was pushing me out of the way, but I took it as a pat. Gentle. I think she might have liked me.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you for your kind words.
Sexy. Was sexy. Long legs.
Would anyone else
Smelled like me mum.
like to say anything? Zephyr.
You look at
Smelled
her
like a
and Zephyr
hedgehog.
looks away.
Buggles?
Buggles kind of pulls himself together, pulls himself up off the forest floor, still clutching this hand crossbow to his chest, walks over to the fire.
Says, Talitha was very kind. She was one of the first people I met as a free person. She was very very kind to me. She also soon proved to be very, very brave. And she was the smartest person I ever knew. And I will miss her.
And he takes the hand crossbow out reverently and drops it into the fire. No, just kidding.
Sparks fly.
Breaks it over his leg.
He thinks about it, and he just he can't bear to. This, I mean, this is really this is all we have left of her is this hand crossbow. So he just sort of grips it tight and sort of backs away, sits down on a log.
It was very kind, Buckles. Very well said. She was so intelligent. You could see it in her eyes. Her knowledge on subjects so far-ranging. Very impressive. She must have been very well read. I wish I had spoken to her more.
I know that I haven't been with you as long, and I didn't know Talitha as well. But I do feel if we had been together a little longer, I think she would have been a great friend of mine. And I do feel very close to her. It's a strange feeling. And she kind of just touches her face around her eyes. Her eyes. I feel like I have a piece of her still. And when we went into the chamber, I feel like I saw what she saw. And I'm sorry.
There's nothing to be sorry for. I never got to know her very well. She seemed kind. I guess, I don't know. Very guarded. She was very guarded.
I think she was protecting.
I think you're right. Whatever secrets she carried, I hope she wasn't burdened by them. Burdened too much.
Buckles, you were right. She was so brave.
But she was also a little eccentric. Remember, Bolan. She ran him through so quickly.
I don't know what you're talking about.
That was so cool.
Did you like that?
Yeah.
Why?
Because she was mad and she did what she wanted to do. We were all mad. Lucky died in that fight. And yeah, he deserved it.
Perhaps he did. I would have been... I think we could have been rewarded by a little more restraint. But perhaps just going with what you feel whenever you feel it is okay. It's just not how I was taught, that's all.
That's what made her cool. That, and she saved me.
I think you said you didn't know her that well. Yet you've traveled together, all of you. And I didn't know her that well, and I didn't know Lucky. Maybe we should all say something about ourselves. It's dangerous here, and I don't know, it would be good to know each other. She kind of shrinks down as everyone looks at her quietly.
I think that's an excellent idea, Asta. I think it just comes from a very good place. Yes. I think all of us know, for one reason or another, why we've come here. We are, after all, Gatewalkers. But I know very little about all of you. I don't know if it helps us in this place to know more about each other, but it certainly couldn't hurt. I'll go first. And he just puts out the cigarette, puts a gentle toe on it, crushes it into the forest floor, the jungle floor.
A bear wearing a hat and jeans steps up from behind you.
Falls back. I'm so desperately seeking what happened the night of the missing moment, because I saw something in the gate that I greatly feared, but also loved very deeply. I saw my brother. My brother died. Or maybe didn't. I'm sorry. When I was very young. When we were very young. And I believed him to be alive. He had fallen. And on a cliff's edge. There was a violent sea there, but there was space where he could survive. My parents, the entire village, no one ever found his body. And they presumed him dead, but I knew that he lived. I could feel it. He was my twin. And I kept pressing this. And I'm afraid I may have hurt my parents with my belief that he was alive. Anyway, what happens, happens. But in the gate, I saw him. But he was my age. He had grown. He was alive. I knew he was. And I thought at once that I was right. All these years I was right. And so I went to him to find him. And we all know what happens next. I'm left wondering, as Dr. Riddleson said to me once back at the manor, if it was just a cruel trick, playing on what I wanted, what I loved, just to draw me in, or whether he still lives. That feeling is deep within me that he does, deep down, but it has grown so weary with age, so decayed that I can't trust it anymore. Sorry, but that is why I want to get through this jungle to that place. That is why I want to get back home, or at least back to those who can help us find out what happened when we walked through the gate. And he starts reaching into his robes and sits back.
Wow. So sorry. Didn't mean to.
No, it's good. It is a weight off my chest, I am glad. And he pulls out tobacco and some book papers.
Buggles comes up and just sort of lays his hand, his little 3-fingered hand on your hand as you're trying to roll the cigarette. It's just like patting it.
Thank you, Buggles. You are so comforting.
And Asta kind of looks at Zephyr.
And everyone looks at Zephyr.
What? You want to know
your
more about
turn.
me?
I would be honored to know
Doesn't
more.
matter. I shouldn't be here. This is a mistake. If I knew where we were, I would leave. I don't know why the gate opened for me, why it lured me in, what happened when I was in there. It was wrong. This was the wrong choice. I shouldn't have gotten sidetracked with trying to figure out what happened. I should have just stayed on my original track and not veered from that. This was a I shouldn't be here.
What was your original track?
I was looking for, I don't know if you've heard of it. It's a kind of an elusive monastery called the Stellarium Sagittarii. It's where monks who are really good at bows train. And I thought I was good at bows, and I thought I would get better. And then I went through the gate, and then I kind of got worse at everything I do. I went through the gate, I came back.
But you are excellent with bows.
No, there's something different. There's just like something like just underneath my skin. Just like coursing through me that I can't control, that just makes everything a little unwieldy. Ever since then. And
Yes.
now I've gone so far backwards from where I imagined I would be, where I should be. I have nothing now. And she like looks at her hands, like empty hands, no bow.
Yeah.
So
I'm sorry. When I brought this up, I thought it would be like our favorite foods or colors. I didn't realize everyone.
Buggles and I really like pudding.
Would you like pudding?
Oh,
I just want some chocolate pudding.
oh.
It was really good when we
I'm
made it
sorry.
that one time, wasn't it?
It was really
It
good.
was really
I was
good.
trying to lighten the mood. I didn't think it would.
It tasted so good.
Sorry.
It was really good.
Sorry.
It's good to do things with friends.
It is.
Great idea, Asta.
Just want to go home and have some pudding.
It's okay if you just go back in your brain and pretend you're back at the house, and we'll be making pudding together.
I wish Talitha was here.
and we'll eat it.
She's not. She's dead. She'll never have pudding again.
I'm so sorry.
I've never really told anyone this,
Oh,
Oh,
God.
jeez.
but I pee and poop out of the same hole.
Is that wrong? You have more than one?
Are you supposed to do that? Is it weird? Do hedgehogs have cloacas?
I think something is very wrong with you. He just wanted to share something.
Everyone else.
Did I do it right? Did I do it right? Everybody roll a perception check.
Forgot we were playing a game. I was so into everything.
What are these dice doing here?
Ah.
21 for Buggles.
15 for Brother Ramius.
13 for Zephyr.
22.
22. All right, so Asta, you hear this in Buggles. Your crying is disturbed by like your sixth sense. You hear a rustling in the bushes nearby. Everyone's let their guard down in this moment, but you two hear rustling in the bushes.
Asta grabs her katana immediately and walks towards the bushes.
Quick break in the action.
Oh,
We're totally healed up. For the record.
Okay.
Okay.
Got it.
we've done
This
that.
is nighttime, then we have continual recovery, medicked all up.
That's awesome. I didn't even look. I did have 2 hit points when we left off, so cool. Cool.
Good
Wounded
thinking.
conditions
Putting that out there.
Gone.
We just, wounded conditions gone.
Yep.
We just did that off screen
Yeah.
and cut to the cool part.
Shing!
Bushes rustle. and a man emerges.
I stab him.
God damn it.
Right? I mean, yeah, I agree.
You run him through. Describe your death.
Matthew, describe your death.
Give me a minute. I got to build a new character.
Another guy walks up from behind. Please don't stab me.
He was mad.
Thank you. He's been pursuing me for days.
Similar looking man steps out
Very
behind.
similar looking man.
No, Asta just points the katana at him.
What does this man look like?
Brother Ramius jumps up off this rock, stumbles back.
You see a tall human man. He's well built. One might even say strapping or handsome.
Ooh, let me write
Or-
that down.
Hot. Even.
Oh, a hot man.
Whoa.
Dashing, we'll say.
I wasn't expecting a hot man.
Expecting a hot guy.
You see the hint of a tattoo peeking out from under his left cuff. That's my right cuff. This is right cuff, left cuff. And he's wearing a long coat. Like you can see lots of tiny little pockets. One of those where you can stash little bits and bobs away. Kind of coat I've always wanted my whole life. It's long and flows in the wind really awesomely behind you.
Like a duster.
Yeah. Well, no, not like a duster, but like a trench coat, but not.
Yeah, it's a duster.
Does it have pockets on the inside?
Yes.
Oh, that's
Like a pedophile.
Sydney.
Like a,
Wait.
Ruining. This is the second
intro.
time you ruined this one character.
God.
Wait, do pedophiles
Okay.
have lots of pockets inside
No,
their chest?
I
Where they keep the can.
What are they keeping in there?
in my mind,
Don't
I was
bring
like
your new characters
I was
around
like
Sydney.
a salesman, and then my mouth said that.
So you consider salesmen and pedophiles to be one and the same thing.
What are they selling?
What happened
Tell
to
us
you?
about your hot guy.
Tell about your hot pedophile
I don't
sales.
wanna play
What's he
anymore.
selling, this pedophile?
We're not interested.
We
We say at the campfire.
We don't want anything.
I don't
Whatever
want
this
any of that.
pedophile's selling, I'm not interested.
You
I
don't
don't
want
want to play
anything.
anymore.
Oh,
Jeez.
sorry, bud. Sydney ruined it.
I
Kill my
understand,
character.
I understand the coat. The coat. Is
Cool coat, man.
Cool coat.
Cool coat.
It's a cool coat.
He's got like cool Star Wars boots too.
Oh, sweet.
Oh, okay.
Awesome.
Yeah, he's in his 40s. All right, let me get back into it.
Reset.
That-
Pause for edit.
No more out of you for the next 10 minutes.
At least look it up, words up in the dictionary before you say
Just start sputting them out.
blur stuff
Oh
out.
no. Oh no. Sydney's gonna talk.
I crack myself up. Oh, God. Go on.
So you guess he's probably in his 40s. He's got salt and pepper hair, salt and pepper stubble. He got one of those dramatic, like, you know, walking through the jungle, so his hair's a little sway. He's got one of those dramatic forelocks, make him look like a 90s heartthrob. He's got a scar. We've heard about this before, snaking down from his cheek, kind of through the salt and pepper stubble and down the side of his neck. And he's got piercing blue eyes, and he looks at you, and he's carrying Zephyr's bow.
Oh, shit.
Pardon the interruption. I think this might be yours.
And we'll see you next week.
Cut it off right there.
Whoa.
You gave me the pause. I had to take it.
Yeah, that was
Perfect.
chunky pause.
Chunky pause. Who is this
wanna
used car
pause.
pedophile?
I want to know about this guy.
Find out next week.
Everything's ruined.
Oh, sorry, Matthew. He works so hard, and then Sydney ruins it.